Today, we are going to write the perfect blog post together using ChatGPT. This is a very simple, no-frills video that if you follow along, you can get some good results. Now, the first thing we're going to need is a topic and a little bit of knowledge about that topic. So you're going to want to do some legwork, some research to find things that AI normally wouldn't come up with. Let me show you an example. In this example today, we're going to write about a forum called the Warrior Forum. This is something that used to be big in internet marketing, and we're going to talk about how it works. So first, let's go through and take a look at how ChatGPT actually parses this information. We could say something like, tell me a little bit about the Warrior Forum. This is going to go through and get us some information about this topic. And let's see what it comes up with, because what we're going to want to do is add to this, right? It's going to tell us the basics, and then we're going to go through and ask some more specific stuff and get the perfect piece of content based on the keywords that we want. We could see here it's going through. It gives us the history of when it was created, what the war room was. It's going to talk about the special offers here. It's going to talk about the topics covered, what kind of things people talk about on the forum, how the community works, and on we go. So as we can see, it's doing some interesting stuff here to find out more about this Warrior Forum. So we're getting like a little lay of the land of how this stuff works. Now, what we're going to want to do is we're going to add things to this mix. We're going to say, well, what kind of marketers started on this forum? Or if you were doing a certain type of Atkins diet, maybe you can ask, who are some celebrities that are on the Atkins diet? What do doctors say that are against it? What do doctors say that are for it? Or something like that. So in this example, I can say, now please tell me some people who got big in internet marketing from this forum. List at least 20 people. And we're going to see different things like that where we had launches and different stuff that was created with this forum. And then we can see when it was acquired and how it was acquired and what that means. Now we could see it says Alan Says, Mike Filsame, who is another one who was popular, Frank Kern did his mass control method there, Evan Pagan. Lots of people started out on this forum. And we could see here it's going on and on, talking about different people that were big on the forum and how they started their internet marketing career. Then, of course, doing a little bit of research on our own, we can go through and say, how about people like James Jones, Jason Fladlian, and other marketers big in the WSO community. This is going to go through and give us some other people. This is super important because what it's going to do is it's going to give us unique content that other people aren't going to think about, which is going to give us a really good piece of content that people are going to want to read and Google's going to want to rank on the search engines. And here we can see it's listing out several other people here talking about the different WSO launches and different things like that. And then we can even see number 10 is the guy who started Warrior Plus. So we're going to get a lot of different things here. And what's going to happen is we're going to be able to piggyback this on different keywords. As you can see here, we have Warrior Forum. But if we were to go open up a new keyword tab here, type in Warrior Plus, now we're going to see that there's over 3,400 different results for the word Warrior Plus, which is interesting. Now again, I'm not commenting on the validity of these programs or tools or things offered therein. We're simply creating a piece of content about this topic. I don't use either of these platforms, but I think it's good to understand as part of marketing, and you guys are going to see how this fits into my journey in marketing once I turn this perfect blog post into an up-and-coming video. So stick around for that. But we could see here that there's lots of traffic for this keyword, lots of traffic for this keyword, and in creating the perfect blog post, what we want to do is talk about what these are, how they're founded, and what people want on each of these platforms. So what we're doing is we're starting out by just getting information on a topic. We can see here, we've got quite a bit of information to start with. Now let's dive in and say, now please tell me more about Warrior Plus. It's going to go in and get the information on the Warrior Plus stuff, which is very important. This is something that is tying into the topic that we want so that we are getting something that people are actually going to want to read. Instead of going out there and just having ChatGPT write some article or giving it some prompts for SEO in terms of what you think will rank or what other people say will rank. What we want to do is we want to provide the perfect piece of content based on what someone looking up these terms is going to want to read. This is super, super important. And we could see here it's doing a good job of talking about the history, the marketplace, and how it works. And now we have some good information on Warrior Plus, people who started on the forum, how the forum worked, and all different things of that nature. And now what I'm going to do is paste in some information to let ChatGPT know that we are going to create an article together. I can say something like, "Excellent, thank you. Now let's create an article together." It's going to say, "Okay, you're welcome," and then it'll go through and say, "Let's create this," okay? And we're going to go through and say, first, I am going to give you some information. What this is going to do is it's going to let me give it information, and it's going to read it and create the article in lieu or in the mindset of the information. Now, the information that I am going to paste is going to be a comparison that I had ChatGPT do on an article that did not pass AI detection and the same article that did pass AI detection. What it did is it came up with a list of differences between the two articles that I can paste in here and say, okay, here are two different scenarios and different types of articles that are created. One being the one that didn't pass, two being the one that did pass. Obviously, we want to pass AI detection, so we're going to put in number 2 here. Let's use article 2, right like that. And now it looks like it's creating an article about human touch in digital content, which isn't exactly what we want, but we're going to let it go ahead and continue anyway because it's actually learning about human content versus AI content. And I think this is helpful. And now that it went through and said this, we're going to say, okay, great, thanks for that. Now let's use the info earlier about WSO, Warrior Forum, and Warrior Plus to make an article in the same idea as Article 2, the human one, with all the info we talked about these platforms, who uses them, ECT. Now it's going to go through and create based on this topic. And again, we're going to get the information. We're going to be curious about what's going on. We're actually going to read the content and see where we can expand and make it better. For example, remember how I went through and said, okay, give me some people who used it, but then I used my knowledge of who actually used it and put those in the mix as well. And again, these are going to be very, very important and very pivotal to your success online. And now we can see that what it came up with is actually pretty skimpy. It doesn't really talk about the Warrior Forum as much. So what we're going to do is kind of lead it down a path we want to go down. So let's go up here and take this chunk of information right here and say, now please create an intro about the Warrior Forum using this info. Okay, now it's going to go through and it's going to tweak this info here and write the intro based on that information so that we can get a more robust article. Now, as we go along to create this perfect blog post, I'm going to go through and I'm going to create them in a WordPad and compile them in a way that's going to build the perfect article for me. So we're going through here and we could see, okay, ever stumbled across this here, here's the WSO, here's all this stuff, okay? Very important. And again, we're going to go through and we are going to take information that it gives us, expand on it, get information that it gave us in the beginning, and expand on that as well. So now we have this here. And we can see exactly what it looks like. So diving deep into the Warrior Forum, a digital marketer's oasis. Let's do something like, how about an intro using all the info and points, and let's title the article the Warrior Forum, was it the beginning of making money online? Question mark. And we'll do something like that. That way we can kind of direct it where we want to go with this article. Because what I have in mind here is I want to create something that's kind of like, oh, was this like the grandfather of all the make money online offers that are out there? Or how did it start? And we're seeing that it is changing it a little bit for us, talking about what these people did, how they started it, how it worked, and everything like that. Okay, so now we have a good start. Now we're getting here, and we'll put this into our WordPad so we can kind of see where we're at. So we have the Warrior Forum was at the beginning of making money online. In the whatever landscape it's going through, it's talking about how it was founded in 1997. At its core, what was it? It was about discussions, WSOs, SEO strategies, pay-per-click. Then it went through and jumped straight to 2014. So we're going to go through and we're going to fill in the gaps here, right, like this. And we can actually go and create this piece of content here. Now, it's very important that as I go along, I'm going to want to put these in a plagiarism tool like Grammarly and figure out, okay, is this actually plagiarized? Is it good content? What's going on here? And we'll go like this and just make sure that it passes the test. Now, the reason I want to pass the test is because I actually do like this stuff here. And it seems like this is the only thing. That's not really plagiarism. That's probably on millions of websites, so I don't need to worry about that one. Now, let's go ahead and add this in here. And we could see from integrate discussions. So I'm going to paste this right here, right like this. And then I can put, I think it was 8, 7, 6, 5, and then I think it just went up. I think it was 8, I believe so. 4, 3, 2, 1. I believe we have it right. Let's just make sure here. We got 1, history, war room. Yes, so we're looking good here. So now we can go through and say, this is how it started, right? Here is an overview of the forum and how it changed through the years. Okay, boom, right like that. Now we can see we got the beginning looking good. Now we have the overview, which is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, then it goes through. This is when it actually got sold. It's got the free content, and then it's talking about, so as we delve deeper, was the Warrior Forum truly the genesis of making money online, or was it a pivotal chapter in a much larger narrative? Excellent. Now we are going to go through and take the parts that we talked about earlier with the people who started. Then we could say something like, here is a list of marketers that have been big on the platform. So we can go through, and it's got 20 up here, and 10 here. So what I could do is I could say, now please make a master list of these. Put those ones in there. These ones here. With the descriptions. And also with the numbers, and remove any duplicate names. That way we're not getting duplicate people on this. So now we're going here, and we can see exactly how this works. Now again, being armed with the knowledge before you get started is going to be very, very, very important, because what we know is okay, from doing this for a while, I know that jvzoo was born out of the Warrior Forum and was born out of Warrior Special Offers and Warrior Plus and stuff like that. So when we go through, we're going to be like, okay, now throw this into the mix. And what's going to happen here is that is going to give you some information that other people aren't going to be able to have. Other people that are going to struggle, and they're not going to know this stuff because they're simply just asking, hey, write an article about the Warrior stuff or whatever. That's not going to give you good output. What we want is very, very, very good output. And we could even go through and do another pass on this information. Watch this. This is going to be crazy. So once this is done, the next pass I'm going to do is talk about some of the top products these people have. This is going to be an article that's going to be absolutely amazing when it comes to the make money online industry. And that's kind of what I'm after here, is I want something that's like the make money online industry overview and how the Warrior Forum played into that. Excellent. So now we have this list. Now please create the list again, exactly how it is, but add 2 to 3 top products from each person listed. What this is going to do is now it's going to give us the products that those people have listed that are popular. And the idea here is that this will also ping against keywords like Google Sniper, which does in fact still get some searches. So we can pick up some extra traffic by having that in the mix. And we can see it's actually doing a pretty good job creating the different products and things like that that are based on what these people did. And now we can see it did the list of 30 and it has all the products that they had listed under each person. So now I can go through, go back to my WordPad over here, and right where it says this stuff, I can say, now let's look at some top marketers who used this forum, right? And then we go through and put those down here. Now, before we get the final output, again, I'm going to want to run this through Grammarly right like this. Make sure that the plagiarism check passes right here like this. And it does look like it's 100% original. So you can see here we are actually getting a very good piece of content here that is going to give people a super awesome overview of what the Warrior Forum is, how it worked, people who used it, and different things like that. So now we have, was it the beginning, intro, history, War Room, Warrior Special Offers, different things of this nature. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask it more about Warrior Special Offers and how it became, how Warrior Plus was born. Now please go into detail on WSOs, how they worked, how popular they were, and how Warrior Plus came in the mix, and then eventually jvzoo. Okay? So it's going to go into detail in this stuff. And as you can see, we're getting like the monster of all articles, good stuff about this topic for someone who is interested in learning about these platforms and how they work. So now we can see here it's going into the WSOs. It's going to give us a little rundown of how it worked. Now it's going into Warrior Plus, how that was founded, how it worked. Talks about the instant payments for affiliates, which is one of the big platforms that jvzoo took from them. And now it's going into jvzoo and how that platform works as well. So now we can see we have lots of good stuff here that talks about the differences and the growth and everything like that. We can even say, now please rewrite this section with some dates, earning amounts, if any, and more info on the stats of these platforms. Or even milestones, like, oh, when did they make their first millions or something like that. Okay, here we go. Now it's going to rewrite that with that information in mind. And again, we can take these and run them through the checkers and kind of put them where we see fit to get a really good overview. Now we have the popularity here, success stories. It's a little vague, but I think we can use it for now. And definitely has the dates, which is very, very good. Definitely has some good numbers here, giving us the milestones. And now we see the concluding thoughts on that. And we don't really need the concluding things. I think we can just enter this info into our article right then and there. Again, before we enter it, we'll just put it into the plagiarism detector over on Grammarly. And we could see that it's about 4%. And this is probably from something else that was about ink now. So I don't think that's actual plagiarism. I think it's just a sentence that someone else uses that's very similar, okay? And if you want, you can change it and say, they also got a spot in the Inc. 5000 in 2026, 2017, right? Or 2016, 17. Now it's passing the test, right? So that's something very simple that you can do. Now, when we go back to our WordPad, we're going to add this here. And we can say, okay, here is the difference between the WSOs and different things like that. And talks about the Warrior Plus. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and I am going to obviously put our numbers in here, right? So there's the Warrior Special Offers, how they worked, posting, everything like that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and say, what are some ways people can still make money using WSOs and the Warrior Forum. Okay, very simple. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it a step further and I'm going to ask it for some platforms that are similar. So notice how what we're getting here is a much better piece of content than just saying, hey, make an SEO optimized article about the Warrior Forum. No, what we're doing is we're thinking ahead and understanding and anticipating why would someone want to read this, how is it going to help them, and also how can it help us understand the topic in a better way. So we're going here and we're saying, okay, here are some things they can do to make money on the Warrior Forum. Okay, so we can do this. We'll just copy from here and we'll go down even more down here. Okay. And we're seeing here that it actually does have some good tips that we can use. And then I think some of these are a little too vague. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stop at this list of 10 here. So I'll do like this here, put it into Grammarly, and we could see if it has any plagiarism stuff. Very important. Looks like it's original, so we're good there. Put this into our topic here. Here are some ways you can still make money with the Warrior Forum and WSOs. Okay? Put that info right in there. You can go through and 10, 9, and sometimes if you use Microsoft Word, it will still keep the formatting, but I mean, it's not that hard to go in and number these. And one of the things to realize also is that this works even if you're selling content. Like you can go and you can look over on Fiverr for AI content. So if you do like AI content over here, you can see people are actually charging for AI content, which is pretty cool. So we could see here's an AI content generator, AI content editing, custom AI prompts, and different things like that. Here's proofreading, AI content, 20 AI content articles. So like this here, 20 AI content articles for $60. Here's one for $15, and on we go. And we can go through, and a lot of these people will want articles. So if you do articles and blog posts, you can see $20 here, $60 here. And I've done this. We're at minute 34 on this video. I've been taking breaks, but I've kept the recording going for the specific purpose of figuring out how long it takes from start to finish to create this article. So if you were able to charge 60, 25, 20 bucks, or even $70 like this guy, right? That would be, let's say it takes me an hour, that's still $70 an hour, which is not anything to slouch at. That's a pretty good living for some people. And we can see here that we have a good piece of content started. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, now please make a table of similar websites like the Warrior Forum, right, like this, okay? It's going to make a table of the different websites and different things like that, and it'll probably have like benefits or different things that will give us an idea of what they work with. So here's the website and the description. So we got Digital Point Forum, pretty good. That's a very popular one. Black Hat Forum. So notice how these are all very specific to making money online forums. This is actually a very good piece of content. If I was to pay for this, and I used to do this a year ago before AI, I would pay someone to make all the notes on a topic for me about something like this, and it would cost me, usually I'd have to get 3 people to write. That way I get enough between the 3 of them to put something cohesive and good together. And then even then, a lot of them would fail. So it would cost me $300. It'd take a couple days for them to get back to me. And I mean, using AI, we're getting a much better product, and we're getting it very, very fast. I mean, again, like I said, we got this in just a matter of minutes. And we could see here's our table. Again, if you wanted to do this in Microsoft Word, it will copy over the table for you, or you could even do it in an HTML editor or something like that and copy it over that way. So now we have our table here, which is looking pretty good. And then we could say something about, now please close this whole thing up with a good few paragraphs on making money forums, how the industry... Actually, you know what? I'm going to go back. I'm not going to go there yet. First, I'm going to say, now what are some controversies around the Warrior forum, jvzoo, and Warrior Plus, okay? That way we get like, oh, hey, here's the good, the bad, and the ugly, getting a good thing. Then we'll have it wrap it up. So now we have this here. And it'll say, here are the issues, quality. Okay, and that's actually, this intro is fine. I have no problem with this one here. So moderation, upsells. So here's the problems people have with it, which is looking pretty good. Okay. Now it's going into Warrior Plus. And it's got a little blurb about how they're actually pretty good, even though they've had some controversies. So we'll put that in there. Okay. Now we have this under the platforms. Then we can say, now please wrap this whole article up in a few paragraphs and talk about the past, present, and future of making money online and forums and stuff like that. Okay, so it's going to go through and it'll wrap it up for us and make it a very, very put together article in a very simple way. And it looks like it's duplicating some info, so I might not include this one here. I probably would just start it here as the internet matured, something like that. So this will probably work here. Yeah, I'm going to get rid of this one because it's doubling up, and I'm just going to get this one here. So now we'll take this, put this into our WordPad here, and we can format it, make it fancy looking, and everything like that. And let's go ahead and take this here. We're going to put the whole thing into Grammarly right over here. Boom. Put the entire article into Grammarly. Check it for plagiarism. And we could see the only plagiarism thing here is ask questions, experiences, learn from one another. Let's just put each other. Right, like that. And that should solve it. There we go. Now we have 0% plagiarism there, except for this one, which we already changed. And again, you would just put Inc. 500 list in 2016-17, right? Like that. Again, now we got 0, right? So now we are completely free of plagiarism, right? Like that. We can also see that this article is right around 2,600 words. Fantastic. It's got a table. It's got info. It's looking pretty good. Next, what we're going to do is make sure we pass AI content detection, right, like this. And it should do pretty good since we put in those 2 examples in the beginning of the articles. And we could see here that the bulk of it passes AI detection. There are a couple things that we can tweak. So if you wanted to clean that up, we can go through and take each batch like this and have the AI rewrite it for us. But again, as long as it's a good article and it fits what the people want, I think it's going to do okay. And then if you wanted to take another pass at it, we could say something like, now please put everything together like this, put the article, and follow article example 2 to pass AI detection. And what it'll do is it'll give it another pass here and kind of go through and see if it'll pass the AI detection for us. And this is a much better, easier to read article, which is pretty cool. Like, this is actually kind of probably how I would talk. And we could see here that this one is now going to have a better chance at passing AI content detection. And we put it in like this, and it'll probably give it a score of human text. So all we would have to do is go through, run another pass, make sure that it's keeping the info. Like here we could see that it actually did fail at putting all 30 here. So I would say now please do the same thing on all 30 people, right, like that. Or one of the things I noticed is that portion of the article didn't really get flagged with AI content, so I think we're okay there. But again, going through here, you can create the perfect article. We're at minute 45 into my creation of this article, which means that I think with some ingenuity, you can create a really, really good piece of content in about 45 minutes or less. You can get it to pass AI detection. You can create something that people are actually going to want to read and look at and utilize. And this will do really well, and Google will see it as, hey, this is content that fits what people want. And then we're able to lead it to the things that are going to put more money in our pocket with affiliate offers and different stuff like that. And if you want to learn more about that, make sure you smash the like button and stay tuned for Monday's video where I'm going to be building content for a brand new domain that I'm setting up to show you how I take a business from zero to hopefully $100,000 a year or more. And based on my track record, I don't think that's going to be too much of a problem. And if you want notes from this video, check out downloadmynotes.com.